Now is your time. Listen, maybe your jewelry store has been stuck at the same level for years, and maybe things are going great, but you just can't seem to get over that one little hurdle. For each of us, that hurdle is different. So I'm going to tell you a story about two jewelers. Now, I've changed the names to protect the innocent, but these are true stories. We'll start with Randy and Leanne. They own a jewelry store in the Midwest. They have 5 employees, including 1 bench jeweler and 4 sales staff. Their annual volume is just under $1 million, and it's been stuck there for like 5 years now. Despite checks written and books read and consultants hired and marketing companies engaged, they just can't seem to get over that $1 million hurdle. With expenses rising and sales staying relatively flat, they're becoming more stressed by the week, and it's affecting their business, their family, and their marriage. Now, Scott and Lynn, they were in the exact same place a few years back, but things changed. The first thing they did was decide that they were going to change. They knew they needed to do something now, or soon there would be a GOB and they'd be looking for jobs. So Scott and Lynn, they made the decision together. That was step one. The decision to do. Next, they prioritized the parts of the business that they thought would cause the best growth. For them, they felt it was marketing and staff training. You see, Scott, he was real good with QuickBooks and inventory management, and he was quickly reordering fast sellers and getting rid of old merchandise. So he was really good on that end. But their specific hurdles were getting people in the door and then closing those sales. Now, Lynn, she managed the people, so she decided that she was going to have a 10-minute powwow every single day before the door opens. That means you would sit together and you would talk about several things. That meeting consisted of a discussion of everyone's schedules, who was taking lunch when, what customers were coming in, any special orders, any custom stuff, a review of any marketing messages that were out there, their store goal for the day, the individual sales goals for the day, and their repair goals for the day. So it was just a little checklist. And then at the end of that checklist, it was what Lynn calls good news from yesterday. This was great because then it didn't end up being a negative meeting. It was a positive meeting. And then once a week, they would have a half-hour training session. And they went over selling strategies, product information, vendor information, new vendor information, store procedures, and then team building things. To make changes in their marketing, they first looked at their expenditures from last year or prior years, and then they determined that they had to make some pretty hard decisions. What they needed to do is become more relevant to younger buyers in order to keep the pipeline of new customers coming in. See, what was happening is they were seeing way too many old faces and not enough new, unfamiliar faces at the diamond counter. So they decided on an action plan that they could implement. They could afford to implement. It would take more effort than money. One of their team members was Tina, and she was pretty good with a camera. And Lynn was really pretty good on camera. So what they decided that they were going to do is make a 90-second video every single week, no matter what. They did videos on ring sizing, the price of a diamond, why they were closed on Sundays, lab-grown diamonds, plus about 30 other things that people are genuinely interested in. They created a YouTube channel, and Google loved that because now they had a ton of content out there. Okay? Now, they posted those videos on their website, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and many others as they could. And what was neat about that is now they were organically at the top of the market's search engines. Organically, they didn't have to pay for it. Why? Because of all the content they had. Okay? So more people started coming in, and then they asked for and received many Google reviews. So that was a positive change as well. So now, new faces are constantly at the diamond cases, and they're constantly closing a lot more bridal sales. So their team has great communication, and they're regularly engaged in group sales, turnovers, add-on sales, all from one simple decision and following that decision with action. Listen, now it's your time. This is your year to take that step to bring your store to a whole new level. Your action plan may be different than Scott and Lynn's because your store is different. But decide today, decide right now that you're going to make that change and then support that decision with action. Action every single day. Listen, I've seen far too many jewelers go from trade show to trade show, listening to one great presentation after another, and then following that all up with writing a big check and expecting all their problems to go away. Listen, that way requires a pretty big checkbook. But deciding on doing it yourself every single day, this is the only way to make a lasting, impactful change that will literally smash that glass ceiling that's been hovering over you in your store for years. Yes, I am going to share this message with Randy and Leanne, and they will take that first step in growing their store, the decision.